Right, this is Lightblinded Vanguard. This is the 6th boss of the raid. This is the 5th boss of Void Spire. Technically, you could go to a 3rd if you go Evolution Resurrect into this. Still roughly the same tier as what Vanguard and Resurrect are from the previous one. Right, so we have these 3 paladins. Very important that the tanks make sure that you grab aggro of the commander at minimum, and then whoever is not grabbing the commander should grab the general, and either tank can grab the War Chaplain. War Chaplain is just going to do cast on the tank. It is tank damage, but there's no real tank buster from the War Chaplain. It's just whichever tank grabs is just dealing with extra holy damage throughout the fight. They're going to start off with loss. This boss has a unique stuff where the moment that you lost, the Plot Paladin and the Holy Paladin are immediately going to bubble. You can immediately just Master Spell or Blood Elf ratio to get rid of it. While the Red Paladin has wings, this one would do 100% extra damage. This is a one-shot on any VPS on Mythic if you accidentally early pull and we decide to last time pull. But tanks, you might want to pop a small defensive while pulling it. While it has wings, it also has a 30% damage amp on it. So do make sure that you take advantage of that 30% damage amp. Ideally, we've removed the shield so you have 3 target cleaving with your priority target / final target being the commander. Okay. Instead of talking about the moves one by one, through each of the different bosses, we'll just go over the mechanics as they pop up. Alrighty. So we start off with Secret Toll. This is just red white damage. He's just going to throw Judgment at a whole bunch of people. No big deal. Next move, General is casting Avenger's Shield. This is just targeted at some people at random. You just spread with these. Don't get hit by the Avenger's Shield. And then this War Chaplain is doing Sacred Shield. So the Sacred Shield ability is it's going to gain a shield. We want to break the shield. And then it's going to pick the furthest player from the War Chaplain and it's going to charge straight at them. This does deal damage as it's running. Try your best to not get run over. On Mythic, I believe this is about like 60% of your HP if you get run over. And then we'll want to follow through War Chaplain to break the shield. Because this Chaplain is trying to cast a Disorient. It's blinding light. So we want to break the shield and then kick after. Make sure the shield is broken before you try to kick. Don't just like shoot the cast and think you are going to kick. Alright, and then we're going to the Tank Buster. So both these 2 tank mobs, the Commander and the General, they will both cast Judgment. One of them will cast a Blue Judgment, one of them will cast a Red Judgment. The colors don't matter. What does matter is that during this cast, you taunt your co-tank's boss during the Judgment cast. So while this Commander is casting Judgment, whichever tank is currently taking the General will taunt the Commander, because this Judgment from the Commander will increase Final Verdict. You see right there, Final Verdict pops up, and then after that, the General will start casting Judgment. No, maybe I did it earlier. Oh, it did do it earlier. So this General casts Judgment, so the Commander tank would have taunted the General, and now it's doing Shield of the Righteous. So it's just taunt on cast. It's the same as Soul Hunters. You're taunting during the middle of the cast. It's just instead of I-beam, you're taunting during Judgment. And if you're late, if it's already started, the Shield of the Righteous or the Final Verdict cast, it's already too late. On normal, you'll be able to lift this. It should be about 500k damage. On Mythic, you're not living this under any circumstance because this is 5 million. You have to immune the moment that you know your tank messed up. Right. So we'll move on. So Divine Toll. So at a 100 energy, these bosses will do their ultimates, same as Soul Hunters. In an ideal world, whichever boss is hitting a 100 energy, we want the tank to have them separated. So in this case, we would have wanted whoever the general tank is to be, let's just say right where the boss is currently are, and then the other tank should have the commander and the war chaplain, and they should be out of this move. Because what this Divine Toll is going to do is it's going to be added with Diva Ore, because this is the general. Diva Ore is going to give 75% DR to everyone inside the shield. This might be a really testing where there's no shield. There's no ore. We'll see that on Mythic. This Divine Toll, it's basically just launching a whole bunch of shields. If you get hit by a shield, you're going to get silenced. Okay, yeah, it is on it. So this is just the bug he will card. We'll see it. Wait on. Showing Radiance by the War Chaplain. It happens probably to it. This is just way wide damage. It ramps up over time. That's all there is to it. So we'll continue. Now, this is really early, because it doesn't even show the next mechanic. Let me go ahead and grab another VOD so you can actually see the mechanic it's supposed to be comboed with. We're going into this Sacred Toll. We're trying to do a little bit of a drag, except it's not working all that well. You see here, this is the Diva Ore. This is 75% reduction for anyone for the enemies that are within it. And ideally, this War Chaplain gets all the way out before I cast Sealing Radiance, because now it's stuck with 75% DR and it's doing the weight wide. It's going to really affect the damage. Now, the mechanic that you didn't see from the other video is on Heroic, the boss is going to drop Consecration after it finishes its ultimate. And it just deals damage. On normal mode, there's no Consecration, so we have a lot more space to work with, but that's essentially acting as our Soften Rage. Right, so let's just go ahead and move over to the next 100 energy move. This is the commander. This is Aura Wrath, or whatever the retribution war is. This increases holy damage done by everyone who's inside of it by 100%. And during this move, he's going to cast Execution Sentence. This will generally try to target healers, and you want these to be decently spread, because after the Execution Sentence activates, it's going to put out Blessed Hamlets that you have to dodge. And these work the same as regular Blessed Hamlet, where they start slowly going outward. If you ever see any early Heroic VODs or Mythic VODs, you might notice that they stack these up. That's no longer possible. There's a 500% damage taken debuff when you're in one of the Execution Sentence. Alright, last move. This move was very buggy on PTR, so this is something that we're going to have to see how it works. The War Chaplain ultimate is Aura of Peace. What this is supposed to do is it's supposed to give a buff to all the allies. If you attack any of the enemies while they're inside this circle, you're going to get pacified. On Heroic, this is a 3-second pacify. On Mythic, this is a 6-second pacify. So this is going to be probably one of the tougher ones to deal with, because of the fact that the two other tanks have tank busters. So this is going to be an interesting game of like cutting around, or maybe we just move one of the bosses out and people just have to recognize you cannot cleave onto the other boss because it's stuck with that tank on the War Chaplain. There's most likely a way to have it where one tank or maybe one DPS taunts it temporarily and somehow lives the 300k tank busters up until it does this cast, while the other tanks are trying to drag them out. What will happen during this War Chaplain ultimate as well is every 4 seconds there's going to be heal up charge pop up. These are going to be on the 3 closest people to the War Chaplain. So it's going to be a constant rotating of like 3 people walk a little bit closer to the War Chaplain. You get your heal up show up. Right here he gets his heal up show up. Now he should be moving away. This guy's just decided he wants a second heal up show up. Yeah, like they don't really know the mechanics of it. They're just stacking up the heal absorb. If you can deal with the heal absorb yourself, like you have ways of healing yourself, you can get an extra stack. But realistically, you should just get your heal absorb, walk away, let other people go. Do you know that for the melees taking their heal absorbs, they'll most likely still stay in melee. So for range, make sure that you will like you have to go further beyond where the melees are. Don't just let the melees take a lot of heal absorbs either. That's pretty rough behavior. But yeah, that's essentially the fight for No Man's York. It's just all these constant mechanics happening. For Mythic, we get overlaps. So the way that works on Mythic is one boss is going to get empowered by a spirit. And what this will do is it will increase one ability that boss specifically does, and it'll also combo that specific boss's ability with whatever ability is happening at the time. The ultimate move. I just stopped saying ability. So, as you might have recognized earlier, the general is going to be the very first one who's going to do its ultimate. So when the general does its ultimate, this divine toll is also going to be combined with the heal absorb mechanic. So while we're dodging these shields, we're going to be constantly dealing with the fact that a whole bunch of people are going to get heal absorbs. This will be 5 heal absorbs on Mythic. Let's go ahead and talk about the other ultimate mechanics instead of talking about what the empowered abilities are. You might see a little bit of it as I'm fast forwarding it. So right here, you'll notice it's the during this section, it's the general that has the wings. So his move was Divine Toll. So during this execution sentence move from the commander, we're also going to get Divine Tolls popping up. So as we're doing the heal stacks, again, this no longer works. We're going to have to deal with the fact that we're dodging these. You can see they all just die because they didn't realize that there was a debuff that prevented you from stacking. So while we're doing the healer stacks and dodging the busted hammers, we're also dodging these silence shields. And then what will happen after this is this commander is going to get the next set of wings. So on the next ultimate, the commander will be empowered with the War Chaplain. So that would be execution sentence plus heal absorbs for that combination. So there's wings. Now let's talk about what is empowered while the person has wings. So while the War Chaplain has wings, this healing radiance changes. It ramps up even higher. Either that or the ramp is the Mythic mechanic, and I just misspoke it for heroic. So do be aware of how much damage you're taking, especially towards the lighter ticks of this healing radiance. You know, some of these are pretty chunky, especially when these last few healing radiance ticks are combined with the cyclical weight wide. Moving forward, you saw it as I was fast forwarding it. While the general has wings, his Avengers Shield gets upgraded so that everyone gets Avengers Shield. It's an everyone spread mechanic. And then the very last in power, we probably won't see it on this VOD. I think we might barely see it. What this commander would do is he would cast a Divine Storm, and it's just going to summon a whole bunch of tornadoes near the outside, and they're going to converge to where the commander was at the time. So it's just an extra movement mechanic that the tanks will have to deal with. And I say tanks because they should be dragging us through in such a way where you get to the next consecration, but you're also not causing everyone to dodge a million tornadoes from Divine Storm. And you realistically don't really need to know all too much about this. Just know that each time these ores pop up, one of the bosses will be separated. And then aside from Ore Wrath, these other two mean that you can't cleave whoever's casting the ultimate. Yeah. That is it for Lightblinded Vanguard. Actually, let me just grab this real quick. We're just showing you, here's the Divine Torch going out. With the two bosses on the outside. Mindstorm, Untelegraphed AoE and Mellowings, that's kind of whatever. And this one, you have the Secret Shield that you break and then it pacifies anyone who's inside the boss. And it shows basically like, okay, well if you save space, this is roughly how you're going. For the tanks, you're just basically dragging into each of these corners along the edge of the arena. And for the Mythic overlaps, it's Divine Toll plus heal up swords plus the chaplain is going to be charging the furthest target and you have the DPS are down. Second overlap, it's healer stack and dodging shields, and then the very last overlap, it's heal up swords while you're doing the execution sentence and then you dodge plus a hammer. They do a pretty big spread. We might do something similar to this. It really depends. We're most likely going to do a line dodge for heroic, and I'm most likely just going to see how people handle that, and it's 9 times out of 10 going to make me default to we should keep this execution sentence for the spread. Alright, that's now it's definitely done with Lightblinded Vanguard.